Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. So did you notice the bad news today? Or what happened
I
yesterday?
don't know any news at all.
Well,
I
this
am
is news.
useless.
It's not news, but it's news that you would know. Fox and Soxer. It's
What?
uh, the YouTube Studio Classic is gone.
Is it really?
It's gone.
Huh? I just used it yesterday too.
Yep. I think it was either last night or this morning. I got an email and I knew it was over, and it said something like it was from YouTube, and it was like, "Welcome to YouTube Studio Beta" or whatever. And I was like, "Don't, no, don't do this to me." And I logged in, and the button's gone to switch back. Granted, I didn't try every like little combination of like from every different menu, but from the main spot,
Right.
it was gone. And God,
You know what my biggest complaint is the upload thing. I mean, there's a lot of things that I complain about. One of them is the way they show your videos is based on when they're going to be released. So, like for me, I have 10 pages of Divine Journey that are going to be released for the rest of
so
this year.
so they
or
take
next year.
precedent over everything else that you have
Yes.
uploaded. Yeah,
Everything I upload
it's-
is on page like 12 or something. It's deep.
yeah, and there's no way to like reorder it.
No.
And that's why I find so frustrating, because they keep talking about having made things better. I have submitted so many comments because every time you switch over to the classic, it makes you either like you can skip or you can tell why what feature's missing that you're like going back for. And I've submitted things like for the first 30 times I did it of the features that I was missing, because I assumed that they're probably trying to make it right.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've seen a thing change
No.
in that thing, which makes me extremely it's very disappointed. But I didn't bring that up to actually bring up the fact that the YouTube thing had changed, even though that was a reminder of it. You, I know, don't use Facebook, right?
No, I do not.
So Facebook recently has like a beta, a new different view than it's, different than the past, 10 years that Facebook has been. And they probably made little tweaks here and there, to their interface, but there's a new beta that you can use that, is different than it's always been. And
Okay.
I don't use Facebook for much. I don't post much on Facebook. I usually use it just to communicate with, high school friends and things like that have Messenger, and that's the only way that we communicate. And it's funny because during this quarantine, quote unquote quarantine, I have used Messenger so much more because a lot of people are reaching out to me because they know I work in the hospital, and I've actually reconnected with a lot of old friends because they were like, "Oh my God, Jeff, hey, I know you're working in a hospital. How are things going out there?" And I've like rekindled like old friendships, which is great. So I've had people to talk to while I've been like sitting here, by myself and stuff at the house. So I'm keeping a good conversation and re-engaging with old friends, which is great. But one of them said something to me because I switched over to the new Facebook thing, and I guess it views some things differently than it did in the past. And somebody said, I know you've been married for a few years, but your status says that you're single. And I was
Damn, Jeff.
well, that's weird because status is something I turned off years ago. So it didn't show whatever. It didn't show single, didn't show married, didn't show in a relationship. It was just off, and it didn't show it for anything. And apparently this new version, and I'm pretty sure I should go look. I think my wife has hers as single as well, because I think we both just had ours off. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I went to the thing and I was like, wow, it's showing up that I'm single now, which is on this new people who have switched over to the new platform. And I was like, I'm just going to go like turn the thing off again, because I don't need to I don't really care, but it's just one of those things that I don't need to go advertise that I'm single or married or whatever. It's just always been off. That's how I liked it. I didn't really care. So I went to hit the button, and I was like, you know what? Instead of hitting off, let me just actually say married, and like it lets you put in an anniversary date so that you can like remember your anniversary. Because that's a good thing in case I forget when my anniversary is, and Facebook will remind me when it is. But it says right on the top of it, like there was a tick box you could say to. It said, this will not post to your wall unless you like check this box, and it will like post an update to your wall. And I was like, perfect. I can change this. Nobody's ever going to even like know that it was.
You
one
announce
way or
you're
the other.
married.
I clicked, I made sure the box was like, do not post this on my wall, because I figured it would just change the status, especially like people are coming over into this new thing. So no big deal. Next day I look and I jump onto my feed, and my feed's like 84 people have reacted to your post. And I was like, to my post? And I looked at it, and they're all reacting to the fact that I got married in 2016. And I was like, why would a feature that originally you could just have as off automatically turn itself back on for this new feed, and then in the box that says that it's not going to show it and not going to post it when you change it, that it posts it anyways for all these people to see. I just think it's crazy. The weirdest design quirk and design flaw I've seen.
It's pretty dumb.
I mean, what if I was just like, let's make this fun. I'm going to say like it's complicated or something like that, or whatever those options are that Facebook lets you. Or who knows? Fuck, when I went actually into the new feed, I didn't look at it enough. Did it post that I was single because it was like bringing it back from nothing to saying I was single?
Might have. Maybe you were single. You didn't even know it.
I mean,
Facebook.
Facebook official is a thing, right?
I think so.
Facebook official used to be a thing. I don't know. I don't think it is anymore. Not for our generation. I think it is for like our parents' generation.
I don't know. I feel like we were the last. So I've had this thing. I've been complaining about it more lately because of COVID, because millennials keep getting this bad rap. The millennials are doing this or that. Like, I really feel like
it's the boomers' fault.
No. This isn't even about whose fault anything is. This is about the naming we chose for generations. The fact that
keep in mind, we didn't choose any names for generations.
Sure. We weren't. No one invited us to the questionnaire. But the fact that it goes from 1980 until like 1996 or something, that's a fucking huge gap. I don't have anything in common with people that were born in 1996 other than the fact that I date them.
Well, so you know that they talk about you know, they talk about the fact that there's like the millennial generation itself is like a special one to where a lot of people feel it's split down the middle because true millennials like you and I are completely different than the true millennials who are at the end of that because there was such a leap in technology that didn't exist in any other generation. Why is
there not a internet?
Well, because because you got to remember it's truly about generations, and they're split like that because it's like one generation can have kids for the next generation. It's hard to do that with a 10-year generation gap.
I've looked up these because it's 15 years. I've looked up other ones like the greatest age and all that.
The greatest age.
I can't remember what they're all called. I think that's what my grandma's is.
There's the baby boomers. There's you mean like the before the baby boomers? Oh,
yeah. I think that's the greatest generation. But not all of these generation names span this long distance like ours does. Like the Zoomers, I don't remember all of them, but some of them are not 15 years long like ours is. Because it's based on like things that have happened or whatever. Like, you know, if you were alive during the Depression, that's one generation or blah, blah, blah. So I really feel like this whole millennial thing got messed up. But beyond that, even, it's become this catchphrase, a catch-all for anyone under the age of like 30, really. And it's not even, and like, meanwhile, people our age, basically 40, aren't even considered by the people using the word as millennials.
Even though we absolutely are. I will be honest, I didn't know I was a millennial until
I didn't either.
5 or 10 years ago or so. I think you and I had a conversation about this. I think
I learned while talking to you.
I think didn't it have to do with Survivor?
Yeah, maybe.
The millennials versus Gen X versus, you know, whatever it was. That's when you realize you're a millennial because we do fit in very strangely in this category. And a lot of people, like you said, now they're blaming all these millennials for all these problems of God, what the hell was it I saw the other day? And somebody was like, y'all are blaming all the millennials for this, yet I'm the one who's sitting at my office right now, 30 years old. Like, I'm not in college. I'm not, doing this. Like, graduated college 8 years ago at this point. I graduated college fucking 14, 16, 18 years ago, whatever degree you want to say, which one you want to call. Yeah, but we are the millennials in a weird way. I married outside of my generation, man. I married old.
What's her generation called?
She's Generation X.
Did she take your last name when you got married?
No. What a millennial thing of her to do.
Well, I was thinking with her being a doctor. It seems like that's one of the professions.
And that was something I kind of knew beforehand that we had talked about, and I had no intention of her taking my last name because once you are established in a career, it can be so hard to get everything switched over appropriately, and I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal.
I was just like, whatever. Like, and she'd
Like,
she'd also been married before and didn't switch her name for her like previous husband either. So like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you didn't do it for him, but you better do it for me. Like, this is like, I don't give a shit.
Well,
we did kind of have an argument about the kids though.
Yeah, that's where so especially like I think we've had this conversation before, so I may already know the answer and I've just forgotten it. But like for me, you know, I'm the last of my line, so I wanted. I mean, it doesn't really matter since I had a daughter, but my thought process was, well, you know, I want to pass on this name since I'm literally the last person with it.
Well, that's kind of the problem that she wanted too, because she was one of 3 girls. No male children on her side of the family. Like, her last name doesn't have people to carry it on anymore unless one of her sisters has a kid and keeps the last name, because both the kids have my last name. And the what she actually had said was she was good with having the first kid with my last name, but she was she wanted either second kid or to split it, boys and girls.
I remember you saying
each other's last name, and I said that's not appropriate to me. You don't have 2 kids from the same marriage with different last names.
I agree. God, it's a weird. Should we be, man? I like going forward as a you know, the human race. Is it time to change the way that we look at this?
I mean, well, yeah, because honestly, just because you have a last name of something doesn't have anything to do with their legacy in my mind.
Right.
I mean, especially when you're talking like at least I have a last name that's somewhat unique enough that there'd be fewer of us to find. If you went and found a Sano somewhere, you're going to be like, there's a good chance that they're related in some way, shape, or form. Though there's a big Japanese culture of Sanos. I'm actually friends with a lot of people with my same last name on Facebook. And it started because I was friends. Another Jeff Sano friend requested me. He's Japanese, and he has a whole family of Sanos who've now all friend requested me. So we're all friends, but we are not related in the least at all. And it was funny. He posted something on Facebook the other day of him like making masks at home for to donate to his local hospital over in Japan. And I said something, I responded to it, and I was like, this is a man I am proud to share a name with, or something like that. And he was like, hey dude, what's up? You know, just started like, you know, saying that, because we are not related whatsoever. We just happen to share a name.
Right.
But at least there's fewer Sanos in the world. I think it's funny when people like Smith are the ones fighting over the legacy. And it's like, because, you know, when you have such a common name, there's no legacy to that name anymore.
Right. My daughter's strangely, I think we've talked about this, like I said. My daughter's strangely stressed out about this, which is probably what happened to your wife. Where I'm like, listen, your age, stop worrying about last names. But she's really worried because she knows that like she's the last of our name. And so she's like, well, if I get married, I won't be taking anyone's name, and my kid will have my name and all this. And I'm like, yeah, but it's really not the same.
Well, and honestly, by the time that she's like of marrying age and such, that might be not a thing anymore for people to switch names. And I think it's kind of like a regional area. Like in Michigan, I didn't know a single couple, and it's just maybe just because my lack of like knowledge of couples of people I know who during the married phase, I didn't know of a single woman who did not take the man's last name. I've gone to so many of my DC friends, women. I went to nursing school, you know, so I've had a lot of women friends who have since gotten married, and almost all of them kept their last names.
Really?
And I don't know.
I feel like, again, medical profession seems like the ones where you keep but I mean, as nurses aren't, you know, relying on their last name as much as doctors are, I guess.
True. A lot of my friends from nursing school, though, went on and got a nurse practitioner's degree afterwards. So they kind of have a degree like the licensure of, you know, closer to a doctor. So it might cause some of the same problems. But yeah, I think it's maybe it's just the people I'm surrounded by. You know, DC obviously very progressive compared to, you know, Michigan, where I, you know, grew up. So I don't know if it has to do with just where I'm at now or if it's just changing that much more rapidly. But yeah, I think by the time your daughter gets married, it's going to be a whole different ballgame on if that's like common practice or not. And the whole thing to me, like a lot of people, it's funny. A lot of people were like, "Well, you're not upset that you're, this is a lot of my friends from Michigan is, mainly what it is. Like, you're not upset that your like wife didn't take your last name." I'm like, no, it's just like I'm not upset that she makes more money than I do because it means I
Right.
don't have to work as hard. It's I have no problem with the fact that she's the breadwinner in our family. That does not bother me one bit. A lot of people, I don't know what it is about some guys. They feel like control is lost if they're not like the sole provider, and I'm just like, fuck that. Like,
Yeah, I was talking to my hair dresser. Is that the right word?
but it depends on if it's a girl or a guy.
I mean, does it? Like, wait.
I don't know.
difference between
Actually,
a
I don't know.
haircut
I don't
or-
know. I don't know what the difference is with a barber certificate or whatever it is, a barber license versus a like hairdresser license. 'Cause I think there is a difference between the two. That's not just your gender, but I don't know. I'm not into that
Okay.
style.
Well, she's
so
a
I have no
woman,
idea.
so
Okay.
whatever. The person that cuts my hair, when I still had hair before I shaved it all off recently,
You didn't even let
she
her shave it off. What a shame.
no, God, I'm not letting someone stand over me and breathe. You crazy? This sounds like a nightmare. Um, God, their profession has to be really hurt by this because, like, literally,
Yeah.
that sounds like the worst possible. Like, there's no way I'm gonna let someone literally stand over me and breathe.
Well,
right now.
they've all been closed. At least in DC, that was
Yeah.
once they closed essential businesses. That was one of the announcements. Was like all like hair cutting places will close today by like 8 o'clock or
You
whatever.
would think that would be essential. Like, whenever you compare
Well,
some of the
it
things
is-
they've deemed essential.
It is kind of weird because I was like, okay, good thing I got my hair cut like the week before, but it's been 2.5 weeks later, and I'm like, I really need to go get a haircut at some point here. Like, this is not my hair.
Yeah.
My hair is just like frizzes out and like it's all crazy anyway. I can't let it go for a long time. I have really bad hair, but yeah, for me it is kind of essential-ish. But I can cut my own hair if I absolutely have to.
I mean, I get irrationally irritable when my hair gets long. Like, it's like the weight of the hair or something. I don't know
my
what it is.
head hurts.
Yeah, it does. It literally does. Like, my head, it feels like, yeah, it does. It feels like it hurts. Like, especially in the morning, like when I first wake up and it's like greasy or whatever. Because I get like, I get greasy when I sleep for some reason. I don't know why.
I get greasy.
I do, man. I cannot start like people that take showers at nights. I can never be one of those people because I wake up in the morning and I need an oil change, basically.
You know, I don't get super oily hair at night, but I still can't do that anyway. Even taking a shower at night, I wake up in the morning and I feel dirty just because I like slept. I don't know why I feel dirty, but I guess it's like brush your teeth before you go to bed. Do you wake up in the morning and go, crystal clean mouth, time to go to work? Like, no, you have to brush again.
Right.
But anyways,
I have to go through pillows quite frequently, even because like they get soaking wet when I sleep. I sweat a lot when I sleep.
But now, what about your barber though? Or your
Okay. Oh yeah.
stylist? I forgot where you were going with that.
So, we were talking about race or not race, sexual inequality, sex inequality, not sexual. And
there is a difference. They both exist, but
well, she'd asked me at one point, like, what do you do? This was a long time ago when I first started getting my hair cut by her. Sorry, I just saw something on Twitter. So anyway, she asked what I do, and I say I work from home is what my answer was. And she said something like, "Oh, that's really cool. You're a stay-at-home dad. It's nice not having to have a job, huh?" And like that wasn't anything like what I said. For one thing, like I said, I work from home. I didn't say I'm a stay-at-home dad. But I guess my daughter was with me too, so maybe she just assumed. I don't know.
It's like the connotation of even just saying actually what you do. People have the same response though.
Well, yeah.
I make YouTube videos. Oh, great to not have a job.
Right. So it was kind of weird to me, for one thing, to be like, because like it's not the same way for mothers that are stay-at-home moms. They're like, okay, that's your job, like that's what you do, that fills your day, and like that's a hard thing to do, to keep up with your kid. And I mean, a lot of people put their kids in daycare or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that, but like stay-at-home parents is not just like, it's not like you're unemployed. It might be easier than leaving your house and going to a job on some days, but then there's some days where it's probably way more stressful.
Right.
But anyways, that's not what I was telling her anyway. So I had to like explain to her, like, well, no, I have a job, but I work from home, and I'm divorced.
I'll throw that out there. I'm divorced, by the way.
No, not for her. No, she's not my type.
She's not a younger millennial.
Yeah.
What did you say exactly at the beginning of the episode? That was...
I said I don't have anything in common with people from 1996 except that I date them.
But yeah, people, they, and I think that's one of those misunderstandings from a generational. Is she a different generation? I'm assuming. Is she
Yeah, she's probably about 10 years older than me, so she's probably 50 something. In her
yeah.
50s.
So in her mind, people probably don't work from home, especially if she's been a hairstylist all her life or a salon worker.
She's done it for over 30 years, I think she said.
That's
so.
not something you can do from a remote location per se.
Right.
So she probably just assumes if you say you work from home, that means I'm just taking care of the kids, taking care of the family. Like, that's what I do. Or I work on the farm. Because honestly, if somebody told you that they, like, what do you do? Oh, I own a farm. You're like, oh, great that you don't work directly.
I would not think that way.
I wouldn't think it either, but I think that there's a thought process that working at home and like working on my home, and that's what my stuff is like, some people might think of that as not a real job, even though it's probably way freaking harder than farmers. God bless them, because that is
especially now
ridiculous amounts of work. Well, I don't know what you mean, especially now. Is it because they're supplying food or because they're going to be like bankrupt soon? Like, I can't.
Well,
tell
I hope they're not
one.
bankrupt soon, because I feel like the supply and demand situation, there's going to be a lot more demand for our farmers. So here's something. I mean, and we've done so well to not talk about coronavirus the last 2 episodes.
Coronavirus.
So you saw that it's that there's some dogs that have been infected, and there's tigers that have also been.
I heard about the tigers.
There's also 2 dogs that they have in quarantine that their owner died, and when they brought the dogs out, the dogs were also carriers.
So did they like, what did they do? Just be like,
symptoms.
Owner died, let me just shove this nasal swab up this dog's nose?
I don't know. I want to see when the fucking tiger got a nasal swab shoved up his nose and he just sat there for it. I'd love to see a video of that. But here's my concern. And again, with the dogs, maybe the dogs weren't showing symptoms, so maybe they just have it in the respiratory system, but it's not infecting them. I don't know if that's possible. I feel like that may be a thing. But the tigers are showing symptoms though. But here's my first doomsday scenario. Whenever I heard that there's the tigers and dogs infected, is because there's 8 mutations now of it that we know of. And what if one of these mutations jumps to chickens or cows? I feel like that's it. We're done. It's over.
Like mad cow disease?
No, like if it takes out our food chain. Like if it jumps to chickens or cows, the way we farm, especially chickens, if it jumps to chickens, like that's it. Like they're all dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. It's so interesting because so many people think that it's not, it wasn't affecting animals and things like that. But yeah, then it started affecting tigers, and I didn't hear about the dogs, but yeah, that's kind of crazy, because what would we do if we found out it was in like the livestock? People would just like kill them all, right?
See, I don't know. I mean, you'd have to, I guess. You'd have to like try to limit it and try to suddenly limit the ability for it to spread to other farming locations. Because like I said, if you take out all the chickens and all the cows, like America's kind of fucked in terms of like food supply then. Like we really are relying on vegetables and like imported food. And I don't know. Like I feel like, maybe coronavirus isn't going to be, or COVID-19 specifically, not because coronavirus is more of a broad term. But which I don't know how well that'll maintain now that it's been used so readily to describe this particular coronavirus.
Right.
Like I don't think you'll be able to say the word coronavirus without people thinking COVID-19 from now on. But future pandemics like the one that.
And by the way, what my wife told me, and I don't know how true this is because the media uses it so interesting. COVID-19 is not actually the name of the disease. It's the name of the process by which it's happening now with this new one. It's actually, SVV, COV2 or whatever the hell.
SARS-2. SARS-CoV-2.
Yeah.
Is the name of the actual, like apparently COVID-19 is kind of like, from what I understand, and I'm not a doctor, so therefore take hydrochlor, whatever the fuck it is. No, but
hydrochloroquine.
Yeah. But no, my understanding is it's the equivalent of HIV versus AIDS. Like COVID-19 is the AIDS of the two. So like SARS-CoV-2 is HIV. AIDS is once you're infected, right? Or
Well,
once
AIDS is
you're
once your T cells drop to a certain
so like
point.
that's kind of how I understood it. Oh wow, I just randomly right clicked. I randomly clicked on a block with my sword, which apparently was a silverfish.
Are you in our pyramid?
Yeah, I'm digging out an area for
Did you kill it and like
the
thousands of
storage.
them came out and are is this Infotet?
Yeah, it finally happened. Oh man, there's so many of them though, for real. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I may be wrong about all of those things that I just said. But either way, like what I was going to say was the real pandemic that's going to really fuck over the human race is one that attacks our food chain. Um, like if we're if something goes after our food chain and us at the same time, like
Well, it is
it's
kind of interesting to think that we were so underprepared for any type of pandemic, and even though this one, even though it started out as like, thank God it wasn't as bad as something worse like the plague. It's turning into the plague because of how poorly we're handling it. We're gonna get a grasp of what to finally do, and then the next one's gonna be like, okay, we're ready for this. Implement the precautions. Oh, it went after the food chain. Like we
right,
don't know what to do again.
right. I mean, that's I keep thinking
Build
of
up all
all
the
the things.
hospitals. Wait, the cows don't go there.
Right. Like I keep thinking of the things that we aren't expecting to happen while we're focused on this thing. Like, what if fucking Russia decides to go bomb someone right now? We don't have the rule, the ability to just suddenly handle a new problem. Like, what if this goes on until the hurricane season? Like, we don't have the ability to deal with anything else. Like, there's so many things that happen on a year-to-year basis that we already handle poorly. Like, I don't think Puerto Rico ever got any fucking aid from how bad they were devastated. Because as far as Trump's concerned, Puerto Rico isn't part of America anyways. So like I just think of all the things that could happen while we're still spending all of our resources on this one thing that we will not be able to react to because we're doing a shitty job reacting to this.
I'm trying to
Oh,
get
man,
more to. I'm trying to get more to come out because I'm trying to figure out how bad this is over here. Apparently, my sword one shots them, but if we have a
well,
problem where we're gonna have to relocate because, like,
well, the thing is, they turn stone blocks into silverfish, so you're not really getting all the silverfish blocks per se. You know what I'm saying?
they turn stone blocks into silverfish.
Yeah, like if you have a silverfish out and you hurt him, suddenly stone will start turning into silverfish that wasn't already a silverfish.
Oh, it will.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought they just summoned their friends.
Mm-mm. No, the stone becomes silverfish.
Oh, I don't know why I didn't know that. I thought it was just there was a finite number of them.
It is where they changed it to one click though. I guess that's better, so you can't just cheat and figure out where's
Well, yeah, I
silverfish.
actually didn't realize that. I thought it was just going to show the breaking of the block really fast, and
Yeah,
it just
no,
like
that's
it was
just
like pop there. He was just there, and I was
right.
like, oh, didn't expect that to happen. I didn't realize that they also. Yeah, that's weird. I didn't have any idea that they turned a block that didn't have a silverfish in it. That's how they summon their friends.
Yeah, and they can go into blocks as well if you run away far enough.
Yeah, well, and I thought it was that they either started in the blocks and that's how they got there, or they sucked into the block and that's the only ones that escaped. I didn't realize the block changed.
But yeah, hopefully hopefully nothing bad happens for the rest of the year, basically. Because if it does, I don't know how we're gonna deal with that.
I mean, we're just gonna write this year off.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's already gonna happen. This year's just gonna. We're gonna start at the January 1st is 2020. Like the next one, we're just overwrite it.
redoing 2020.
I'd be okay with that.
Well, we're once again out of time. I hope everyone has enjoyed all of our rantings and ravings. And
All
very
right,
little COVID talk. We did it.
we did it. Very little. Even though it's what's on everybody's mind until they watch this back 2 years from now and they're like, why won't these guys shut up about that stupid thing that happened years ago?
Yeah. I was looking at the podcast questions we have for this Thursday, and one of them, this is not the podcast, but you're going to get the question anyways, is what do you remember about the H1N1 outbreak when it happened before? And the truth is, that was handled in such a way, I didn't even know we were in a pandemic. Was it ever called a pandemic?
Yeah, somebody brought the same concept up about how H1N1 being the same type of problem and, them preparing for surge capacity and stuff at the hospital. And granted, it was long before I was, out here. All I remember about that, though, was swine flu. There being jokes about Barack Obama, and because it was 100 days into his presidency or something like that when it got announced, because there was big jokes about, hey, look, Barack Obama was president when pigs fly, because it was swine flu. And I remember that. And then I remember there being a H1N1 flu shot you also got when you got your yearly flu shot. That's what
that's all I remember too.
That's what I remember.
So either we handled that amazingly here in the United States, or it wasn't as big of a deal as coronavirus. One of the two. I don't know.
Or I was just a not caring millennial back then to know.
I guess that's possible.
Nation.
Maybe we were out partying in the spring break in Florida because it didn't matter.
Well, I was in nursing school during all that too, and I don't remember it being talked about as a big deal at all.
Yeah.
Like, I know that people were dying. Don't to get me wrong. If a loved one of yours died of H1N1, I'm sorry, but they were dying like the same as the flu. It was affecting elderly. It was affecting the really young, the immunocompromised, but it wasn't any insane number jump that I recall.
Yeah. I don't remember. I guess it wasn't maybe as viral as this either, where it was so easy to pass it on. A comment on the podcast this week said that this was a good one because I know this will blow your head open. He said that I was being paranoid and overreacting, which some people do think that that's me wiping out my packages and stuff. But I did see the CDC put out a video
while wanting to go on a cruise. But go on.
Listen, Mickey would have kept me safe. The CDC says to wipe down your packages and stuff too once you take them out of the box, which is what I've been doing. Anyways, his comment was, "You're overreacting, Guude. The only way you can catch coronavirus is 15 minutes or more of close contact directly with someone that's infected."
So that person is falling into Republican propaganda. That's all I can really say to that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not true. Like, anyone that doesn't know, you can't pick it up off the surfaces.
They're concerned that these masks they're making people wear aren't going to really protect anybody at this point.
Yeah, right. Okay, before we end this episode, I was looking. I have some painter's masks because I was looking.
Those are probably N95s if they were true painter's masks.
Yeah, and I don't know where they're at. I was looking for them. I got them right here somewhere, and because I was like, if I have to leave the house again, I probably won't want to wear a mask. When I was buying things for our cruise, I bought those full face snorkeling masks, the ones that have like the hose out the top of like the back of your head. So you know what I'm talking about? Like, it covers your whole face completely.
Yes,
like, top of your head all the way down. I feel like I look like a damn fool wearing them out in public.
You would, and there's a couple reasons for that. One, because you would look like a fool no matter what the efficacy of it is. But for two, is there a filter at the end of the snorkel? And is it just a one-way valve to not let water in? Because you have to breathe through it, which most likely means if you're going underwater, there's not a particulate filter in there, such as an N95. So yeah, you would look like a damn fool because it would probably do not a goddamn thing.
Well, here's the next part. I was going to cover the intake and outtake with filters. So I was going to rubber band filters around the intake and outtake.
Okay.
If I did go this way.
Would that in theory work? Probably. It might be really hard to breathe through though. You'd have to try it. But yeah, you'd look like a fool. Doesn't mean you wouldn't be a safer fool than everybody else out there.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, you know what? I don't give a shit what you think about me. If I'm safer, that's all I really care about.
If the only way that air can go in and out of that thing was through a hole that you put an N95 filter over, sure, it's going to be fine. Granted, they still don't suggest the public be wearing N95s because, for one, they want to keep the supply for, the hospital staff as much as possible. And for two, like, with just walking around in public, it's probably way overkill. It's not going to mean it doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means it's way overkill for the average public person out in like a public place. But God, who knows what's happening with this thing anymore?
Right. I probably wasn't because I don't. Again, I can't find those masks. I was probably gonna wrap like a T-shirt around it or something, some other cloth.
Yeah, I mean that would probably be the essential, the same concept as wearing the homemade mask bandanas that they have now.
Right. That's what I figured. I figured because what I keep reading is like it can come in through your eyes and stuff, not just your nose and mouth. So I was thinking, well, if that with the snorkeling mask, I covered my entire face basically.
Dude, I saw the
And I,
greatest Reddit post of this picture of this woman wearing like one of those children's cone party hats over her mouth and
I
nose.
saw that.
So, God, I got the greatest kick out of that ever.
Yeah. No, there was like a whole Twitter thread of people. It was like pick your fighter or something like that. It was just all kinds of people. This one guy had
The horse mask.
yeah, horse
Yes.
mask. One of them was like the water bottles, the big water bottles you get. And he like cut a head part out, and he was just wearing the whole fucking water bottle on his head.
I did not see that
But one of the people
but I can
was
picture it. Like I can so picture it.
yeah. One of the people was wearing this snorkeling mask, and that's actually where I got the idea. Was this crazy person? I was like, I have one of those. I haven't even opened it because after all this stuff happened, I have like 2 Amazon boxes filled with just cruise supplies that I'm just not even open because like, what's the point? Um, so, but I have one of these snorkeling masks. I'm like, well, if it comes down to it, I guess I could wear that. But anyways, we need to get out of here. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks everybody. See ya.